And so now we're getting, I leave that for people to read, the bulk of the middle of the book where he goes into these details. But then I kind of moving forward here more towards the end of the book. And now we're getting into these really pretty fierce battles. And also what's interesting is this is when he starts seeing the enemy. Like they can hear him in the other trenches, but now he starts meeting them face to face. And indeed, we heard on 29 November from Captain von Brixen that we were to take part in a sweeping counteroffensive against the bulge that the tank battle at Cambrai had made in our front. Even though we were pleased to play a part of the hammer, having so long been the anvil, we wondered whether the troops, still exhausted from Flanders, would be up to the job. That said, I had every confidence in my company. They had never let anyone down yet. On the night of 30 November to 1 December, we were put on lorries. It's a truck. In the process, we took our first losses as a soldier dropped a hand grenade, which for some reason exploded, gravely injuring him and another man. Someone else feigned insanity in an attempt to get out of the battle. After a lot of toing and froing, a buffet in the ribs from an NCO seemed to sort him out, and we were able to go. It showed me that sort of play acting is difficult to keep up. Now, I've talked about this before, and if you didn't go the last time I talked about it and look at the shell-shocked videos of World War I on YouTube, they're horrific to watch. And you realize what this war did to people. And I pulled this section out because here was a guy who probably had gone completely insane. And he's like saying this guy feigned insanity. He just said, you know what, this guy's faking.
Even though he probably was for real.
He probably was. He says, you know what, beat this guy up, tell him to suck it up, and now we can go. And that's exactly what happened.
Right, and that was kind of the attitude, right? Remember you were saying that was kind of the attitude back then.
It absolutely was the attitude. It was the attitude, and they talk about. I mean, I've paid more attention to it on the British side, but if you came back from the war with all your limbs, and you went into a medical ward, meaning you were in there because you had psychological problems, it was because you were a coward in their minds.
Yeah,
which is sick. It's sickening.
Yeah, I think how you were saying life meant less than, or where it means more, like human life. I think it was just a lack of knowledge. Like they've looked into it over the years and stuff, and they kind of
as far as the PTSD and the shell shock,
I think everything, everything.
Absolutely, we've learned all kinds about that now. But it is really horrible when you see those videos of what this war did to people. And that's what war does do to people. We got to remember that it impacts people in a horrible way. And this war, to me especially, more so than any other war, primarily because of the conditions and from the indirect fire, the mortars and the shelling. And again, it's something that you have no control over. And also you could see these guys had no control over their fate. Yeah. They were going to get told to do something. They were going to do it. And if you weren't going to do it, you were a coward.